Italian wedding soup is a traditional dish that's so good there's no need to save it for special occasions. A blend of beef and pork makes the tender meatballs. They're simmered in an Italian broth of chicken and curly endive. Cheese and egg are whisked in at the end to make this soup silky and rich. Italian wedding soup is worth proposing for. I'm gonna start my soup by making the meatballs, and they're gonna be small, tiny meatballs that you can pop in your mouth. And you know, Italian wedding soup in Italian is called minestra maritata, which is just married soup, basically what it is. And most people have always asked me for this recipe, and they've always said, well, is it because they serve it at Italian weddings? It's not. It has nothing to do with Italian weddings. What it is that the flavors of the meat and the vegetables and the broth marry so well together. So that's how the name came about. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grate this onion. I like the delicate strands you get by using a grater, so you have the taste of the onion, but not the texture. All right. So we're gonna put that in there. There we go. Now, a little bit of garlic. Just gonna add 1 clove. We'll add that. All right, so now we need some parsley. Fresh flavors and a great color. They add a fantastic color to the meatballs. You wanna chop it kind of fine only because the meatballs are so little, you don't want a big parsley leaf in the meatballs. There we go. Okay. Got some parsley, and the more you flavor the meatballs, the better they're gonna be. And then I'm gonna use a piece of bread. Now, instead of using breadcrumbs, I'm using white bread, and it just makes them softer and more tender. And I've taken the crust off because all I want is the inside. We need a little bit of salt, and we need 1 egg. Of course, the egg's gonna bind it all together. And then I'm just gonna mix this all up. You wanna mix these ingredients first, then add the meat. That way the meatballs stay nice and tender. Okay, so we've got some beef and we've got some pork. And I'm mixing pork and beef together. Perfect. I forgot one thing in this, some Parmesan cheese. We're gonna use about a half a cup. I wanna save a little bit to finish the soup off. I wanna mix it very lightly because I don't wanna overwork the meat. Here we go. So now, we're gonna make small little meatballs, about 1 inch or so in diameter. Here we go. There we are. Okay, so I'm gonna finish the rest of my little meatballs, and then we're ready to cook them in the broth. So the last meatball is in the soup. Be careful when you drop it into the broth so that they don't break apart. And I'm just using stock that I bought at the store, but you can make your own if you're feeling ambitious. Now, we're ready for a little green. So I'm gonna add some curly endive. You could use escarole for this dish or even spinach if you wanted to. I like the curly endive because I like the texture, the curly, rougher texture, and it's spicy, so it adds a little bite. So we're gonna add this in. There we go, carefully. You don't wanna break all those meatballs. And you know the meatballs are cooked when they come to the surface. That's gonna take about 8 minutes to cook. So now I'm gonna get my egg ready. And this is the fun little different surprise in this meatball soup, and I think that's why everybody loves it so much. I know that's why I love it. I'm just gonna crack 2 eggs. And I'm gonna add some Parmesan cheese to the eggs. I'm gonna beat them first. Okay, now we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese. Yeah. Just whisk it together. So we're gonna slowly add the egg, and we're just gonna whisk. Yeah, there we go. Look how pretty that is. The eggs cook up as they get swirled into the soup. That looks so good. Now I get to taste it. Perfect. The meatballs have so much flavor. The egg with the Parmesan cheese on top is so much fun.